Well, um did you see the video footage of the YouTuber harassing the one guy in a mall and he got shot and they let him off?
No, I don't think I saw that.
Oh, I'll pull this up on the stream then so you can take a look. It's crazy. These YouTubers are harassing a guy. YouTuber gets shot. It's not like a horrible video. It's pretty subtle. Like he doesn't even realize he was shot. Um, but I'm surprised this interaction doesn't happen more. I'll play it out and like tell me what you think of this. Because he got, think about this, he got off. The only thing that he got charged for was having a gun inside of a mall. It's 35 seconds.
Well,
Yeah, so they start fucking with this delivery driver.
what's that mean?
Quit thinking about my twinkle.
No.
Quit thinking about my twinkle.
Get on my face and call cops on you. Stop.
Like he seems like, one sec, he seems like a really weird guy in the first place, but he's apparently a delivery driver.
Quit thinking about my twinkle.
What's that mean?
Quit thinking about my twinkle.
No.
Quit thinking about my twinkle.
Get on my face and call cops on you. Stop.
Quit thinking about my twinkle.
Stop.
What state is this person in as well?
Oh yeah, what state is this? Yeah, but look, he like pulls out the freaking gun and shoots him. They pause it, they frame it, so there's no. But yeah, he walks off. Yeah, he totally got off. I'm surprised that doesn't happen more. Hold on, let me figure out what state this is in.
Also, I was listening to you and not actually the stream. I'm in the stream.
Yeah, as long as you can see it. That's there's not much. It's just he's holding the phone up, and then it's like repeating. I don't know, something. You're thinking about my twinkle. I don't even know what it's saying, but he's just like up in the guy's face. Where is this? Inside a mall. Where did this happen? Enter is live. Dulles Downtown Center. What is Dulles Downtown Center?
Is it D-A-L-L-A-S?
Dallas? No, it's D-U-L-L. Dulles Town Center. Where is this? Oh, we can actually pull this up. Let's Google Maps this. Or Earth it. Come on, Earth. You're my baby here. Dulles Town Center. Where are you? Oh, shit. This is like way north. What state is this? In Virginia. So, well, you're in Cali, so basically a different side of the world, right?
Yeah, and basically concealed carry is very hard to find in Cali from what I understood. So that delivery driver would technically be a concealed, it was concealed.
Okay.
So yeah, that's also a crazy thing is like there are so many laws between states. There's even one lady that went to visit New York, and when she was visiting New York, she found out that the gun law was that she could not have a handgun on her when going to where the two towers were, right?
Yeah.
And in doing so, she relinquished her weapon to one of the officers in the state and was trying to get it sent back to her, whatever means necessary to let him know, hey, I'm not supposed to have this on site. And she got arrested.
Oh, real? Oh, for like
Yeah.
trying to show the weapon. Okay. Wow.
She was giving the weapon, she was handing the weapon over to the cop. And because the laws are different in one state to the next, that happened.
That's surprising. Yeah, that I don't know too much about. I guess I'd have to like talk to a lawyer or something on this to really know the details. I don't know how much details you know, but I guess yeah, there's a big difference from state to state.
Yeah.
Like what the interpretation of 2A is, and
well, 2A, yeah, 2A, it definitely means, I mean, you have the right to bear arms, but they're talking about like shotguns. Like, I mean, the idea behind it was that if you have an oppressive, like government, and they start to, step outside of their, I guess, their purview, you're supposed to be able to, if they start going to the ways of like, I don't know, communism, where they just start taking over, left and right, that we're supposed to, as U.S. citizens, have the ability to fight back from that.
Yeah.
But that's,
Like
y-
it is that the only clause in there, or is it like is it just maybe I can bring it up and read a little bit of it while you're talking about it, but I thought it was, so I understand like the whole rise up against your government, but I thought it was a little more vague in its language, right? Where it's more of like oppressive controllers in any way, where if you, for example, if you're stuck in a cult, right? Part of your ability to get out, and the part of your ability to defend yourself from those people that want to do something to get you back into it is 2A. Like if you are being hunted down by somebody for some reason, that's the purpose of 2A. Is it just, as far as you know, and I don't want to like, again, so this, because this is going up on YouTube as a whatever, and I don't want to asterisk for you yourself, but Culprit is not a lawyer. So this is more of just like understanding than anything else. So if there's anything wrong or whatever that either of us say, I don't want to be like, we're not saying anything, giving the viewer just like we're giving them a general idea about what we know, as opposed to like this is the law, this is what you should follow, or it's not advice, this is not legal advice at all. That's my big thing. But yeah,
the idea behind this discussion is essentially that if we're wrong on any way, shape, or form, utilize cited information to send us the correct information to better our knowledge. But ultimately, this is from what I've gathered, because I mean, we get taught the Bill of Rights as as kids, but a lot of us don't look farther into it than what we learn through media as we're growing up, to be to reflect on. Like literally, somebody says somebody got shot, blah blah blah, we need the right to bear arms, and this is the reason why. Well, that doesn't necessarily mean that. And some people will correlate, this is the reason why bearing arms is there, but that's not exactly the intentions behind it, and I'm not familiar enough with it. I just feel like the right to bear arms is the ability to have a weapon to protect yourself from an oppressive government, from the opposition of a large amount of, I don't know, not people but system coming after you, and to just kind of keep yourself alive. Like that's
oppressors. I think that's
oppressors. Yeah,
oppressors is a good way of putting it. Where's the actual sentence? Like I've never actually read the Second Amendment redirects here. Where's the actual? Do you know it off, or is it like a pair, or is it like a clause? I've never actually read the Bill of Rights, so, or like or Constitution. Sorry, Bill of Rights is.
well, it's a living, breathing document, so it should have like multiple spots.
Oh.
Yo, high five!
High five! Welcome in, dude. Reading with a party 4. Hey guys, welcome. We're doing something different today. We're talking, we just kind of wandered into it by looking through Twitter at the moment. Just so everybody knows too, I'm Sulack. I've done games for a long time, Overwatch and Minecraft stuff. I run a server, blah, 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 blah. Welcome in. But we're kind of branching out. I do a lot of this stuff on my own time anyways, reading and looking stuff up and whatnot. And so I figured, why not do it as somewhat of a live show? If you guys have any opinions on this stuff, put it in there. Definitely feel free. Thank you so much, High Five, for coming by. Again, I appreciate it. We're talking about gun rights, which I know is a sensitive subject, and since there's again people here, none of this is legal advice. We're just kind of going over what we think and what we know about this kind of stuff, and we might not even do this for long. We'll see. I'm just really curious. We came across it, and so I'm Canadian. I'm asking one of my American friends here, Californian too. So it's a little bit of bias. These dirty liberals won't take away our guns. But yeah, no, we're just trying to figure this out. the thing that I was kind of curious or like thinking about too, maybe I don't know if you have more to say on this, but it's interesting the perspective where I've said this before to other people, where I was talking about this guy. So everybody kind of knows you just came in. Oh my god! And this YouTuber was getting up in people's faces, and someone shot him. Well, Culpwood was like, "Whoa, like that doesn't seem there's no like justified force for that or anything like that. Like how?" But this guy got off, right? But what we're looking at is he was on the other side of the United States from a culprit and from a concealed carry state. So I guess the expectations is something that I'm learning. And I haven't done this much, but the expectations of where and how guns are used are very different based upon, I guess, the state rights or the state. What would you call them, culprit? Like laws, I guess, instead of just rights. So there's something there that's interpretations
there's federal laws, there's state laws. There's also county laws and there's also city laws. So those can change as well between each.
Oh, he cut.
Oh, did you hear that?
No, those can change between. No, we got something.
Oh yeah, those can change between each of those as well.
Okay.
Like you're talking about like the hierarchy of how each state does their own thing, but it's all under the federal umbrella. We're supposed to do it state-wise, county-wise, then we do it by city-wise.
It sounds a little messy.
It's very convoluted. It's very difficult to kind of understand in a lot of measures.
Is it something that you have to consider at all when going to other states? Like, I don't know. Like, to me, Canada is Canada. I roll across Canada and everybody's kind of the same, and you kind of have the same. You never would think about guns. And then when you go into like one of the northern provinces, or just, whatever, what are they called? I think there's provinces and territories, I think it is. Then you start to see guns and it's a little bit more like, oh, wow, you see a lot, yeah, right? Like there's a little, because bears and wildlife and all sorts of stuff. But is that something you really notice swapping from place to place, or is it like a pretty consistent culture for that stuff across the board?
So in California, when you go from one city to the next or one town from the next, it's relatively similar. You only see essentially cops that have guns on them, right?
Okay, yeah, that's what we have here.
Yeah, but if you go from state to state, now we show up in Texas. Well, you have people that are bearing arms out in public, walking around with like whatever they want to walk around with. Like it could be a shotgun. I don't know if they use, and it's funny to call it assault weapons because I still think it's hilarious that they call them an assault weapon, but every weapon is an assault weapon, including if I took a glass bottle, turned it upside down, broke it, and then went to go use it as a weapon to assault somebody. It blows my mind.
I know that for sure. Like I've heard that with California, especially like the differences in classification, where like guys are like, yeah, this pistol, this is an assault rifle, right? And this assault rifle, this is a pistol, right? Like it's like classified as completely different things. But does it like do you feel the difference going from place to place? I imagine seeing people open carry. Like I don't know how often you've been outside of California, but like, because I've never been around the States and thought about this at all. But do you like feel a difference in culture based on that at all? Or is that like an association where you'd be like, I'm going to this area, they are more pro-gun, and it feels or like the culture is a little different in the area? I know it would be, but is that something you really notice again? Because like again, I don't really like feel that in Canada at all. You just go from one. Maybe the accent's a little different here, and the food is a little tiny bit different, but you don't really. You're Canada no matter wherever you are, right?
So I would say, like, if I was to go to Texas tomorrow and I showed up there, I would have no problem seeing people open carry. Like that doesn't bother me. It doesn't mean that I need to check my attitude because I keep a good attitude. Like I think the people that are worried so much of it are the people that are afraid of guns to begin with. Me personally, I'm not afraid of guns. I respect guns.
But is it noticeable? That's what I'm saying. You do like not like you have to feel different, because to me, that's what I'm saying. When I go to like northern Canada and someone's carrying around a rifle, like I don't know, my gut feels it. Like maybe that's, or is it totally normal to you as like just an understanding and as an American, I guess. You're saying it doesn't. Yeah, maybe I'm trying to drag something. Maybe it just doesn't. That's all. I'm curious, because I know the times I've been down to the States too, and there are areas that have more open carry, and even when I go into like a Walmart, right, like, and it's a different vibe, man. It's a totally different vibe. You gotta like I don't know how else to explain it.
I think essentially, if you have a firm respect for guns themselves, you would understand who is holding the gun based off of what you're experiencing, I guess. Like if I saw somebody walk into a store with a shotgun, I would be scared shitless. Okay. Because I don't have anything to protect myself with, like body armor or something to block the bullets.
That's the weird vibes. That's so it would have to be like
The environment.
It's a conditional change for, yeah, okay.
But if I saw somebody walking on the street, and it depends on what they're holding it to. If it's on a holster on the side, that means that this person most likely has the right to carry.
Okay. I don't know. It's even even too when I've been down in the state, I'll just point out, I'm like, obviously I'm in a new country, so I'm still being nice. But even like I drive safer. I'm like, I don't want to piss anybody off. Like,
Well, I mean, like if my cousin had a gun, okay?
Yeah.
Family even, okay? He dresses like a gangster. He is a gangster.
Oh Jesus!
Like
getting called out.
I'm just saying, like, I have a lot of Mexican heritage in my family where they grew up in LA. My grandfather came from Mexico. My great grandfather did, and he was one of the huge gang members when he was alive.
Yep.
And he still had that same persona, but only the family portion is all I've ever known from him. However, my cousins, they've been in and out of jail all their lives, and for them to have a gun and to see the way that they dress, they act, I would be scared shitless. It doesn't matter in what scene I was in. It doesn't matter if I was at a park. It doesn't matter if I was, in a building. If I was sitting right next to him, if I saw my cousin and had a gun, I'd be scared shitless.
Yeah. Okay. I understand. It's more contextual too. Like, I guess, especially too, since you're more, you are still more or it's more natural, I guess, for you than is here. Because even like I say, when an officer walks into a building and he's got a gun, I think people notice here. But if down there, I'd imagine, oh, he's just an officer. Yeah, that's his gear, right? Like, that's not really a thought, because there is a difference between a carrying officer here and a not carrying officer, right? That's like there's a big difference there. So okay, that's a cool perspective, more than like, yeah. I don't know what else I have to add to that. Do you have anything you want to say on top that came to mind there, or yeah?
I mean, like I said, it's all about how the person carries themselves to be carrying that weapon. Like if I was put in that officer situation right there, like that, seeing something like that transpire,
Yep.
like, yeah, A, he should have had backup. B, he didn't grab for his gun, which was good.
Oh, he did.
But
he did. Look, in this,
I know he thought about it,
you
but
can
he
see
didn't actually pull it, did he?
No, he didn't. No, he thought about it though. He definitely had his hand on it there. Yeah, right there. You can see his hand is on it. But I guess there's the politics of it too. It's New York, so it's like, do you want another, two black guys shot an officer, in their home, or in front of their home would be, yeah, a hell of a scene.
Yeah, that's a simple flip over that balcony and like he's gone. Look at that. That's high. That's a high balcony from what it looks like.
Yeah. But I imagine if this was in Texas, there would be no. That's how the culture would be different, right? Like there would.
It could be, yeah.
I'm pretty sure the officers would, yeah. Especially too. Well, as we just saw with the guy shooting the YouTuber, the YouTuber's doing less than this. That's for sure.
Oh yeah, and if you go back to the YouTuber real quick, because and pull it out where they were side by side to each other.
Yeah, right here.
Look how much taller that dude is over that guy.
Yeah.
And look at the other guy that's right next to him while the other dude's filming them. Like that's 3 people and 2 of them are in his face. Like that is beyond the personal bubble.
Well, what's conditional too? These are like pretty much close to the. These are not even. Okay, they're close to the same situation, right? They're pretty damn close. The officer is like surrounded by people. Oh, you're here somewhere. I lost it in my thing. Twitter sometimes refreshes. Whatever. Anyways. Oh no, here, yeah. This is like a 2-on-1, but it's obviously like an officer responding to a call or something, right? Like,
right.
But yeah, this is really interesting, and it doesn't happen too far away from each other. I think this really does show like the difference in culture, right? Because that was in New York, and the what's it called? The shopping center one is not that far away, right? But it's totally different states. It's New York versus Virginia. Crazy world we live in, man. Absolutely freaking crazy. Jesus. I don't know. I guess, like I say, I didn't really think about the difference in culture between states, right? Like the sentence, I actually have this sentence up here. A well-regulated militia, being necessary to the security of a free state, the right to the people to bear arms shall not be infringed. Actually, being necessary to security of a free state, that doesn't mean like individual. Oh shit, that's probably where this is coming from.
Kind of like essentially if California want to secede from the states, they'd have the rights to bear the arms in order to pull out of the states.
Are you Are you planning something? Is that what you're saying?
No. I'm not planning nothing. Because like I said, when it comes to gun laws, I think honestly, I think it should be up if the person has the capability of understanding it themselves. If you have any fear of using that gun, you shouldn't own a gun. Well, if you have any fear, but if you have respect of using that gun, and you understand that you've never thought any kind of bad thoughts about somebody to end a life, then you should own a gun. If you're there and you've studied, guns and gun management, yes, understandable. You should own a gun, but don't get one just because you can get one. Because if you get one and you're not used to it and don't respect it and you fear it, then essentially you've just put the gun in the other person's hands because they're going to take that gun from you because you were afraid. So, use it's common sense, but common sense isn't always that common.
But this is interesting. What is your thought on this though? Like it doesn't say that you have the right to bear arms for personal defense. It says you have the right to bear arms for the security of the state.
I think there's also more clauses in there, not just that one, that allow you to have that, even for personal.
There are several versions.
It's simply the right to bear those arms, to have them.
To put on display in versions ratified. These differences have been Here, let me read this out. Text. There are several versions of the text, Second Amendment, each with capitalization or punctuation differences. Differences exist between the version passed by Congress and put on display and the versions ratified by the states. These differences have been a focus of debate regarding the meaning of the amendment, particularly regarding the importance of what the courts have called periphery clause. We'll take a look at periphery. The final handwritten original of the Bill of Rights, as passed by Congress, with the rest of the original prepared by scribe William Lambert, is preserved by the National Archives. This version ratified by Delaware and is used by the Supreme Court in District Columbia. So what's the... Because there's different versions. A well-regulated militia being necessary to the security of a free state, comma, the right of the people to keep and bear arms shall not be infringed. So, okay, next. This was some ratified versions. The Maryland one is a few commas. A well-regulated militia is being necessary to the security of a free state. The right of the people to keep and bear arms shall not be infringed. Wait. So, yeah, this is the commas make this really hard to like understand the difference between them. Like there's I guess the two phrases are kind of weird because like it says you only have the right for the security of the state, but then also it says the right of the people to keep to bear arms shall not be infringed. So there's like no condition in which it can be infringed on. I don't know. I've never read this in my life, so I gotta like this is I'm thinking of. Well, also something to mention is the laws of the state. Yeah, that's where I don't know. Maybe that's where like the states are getting different laws from. Is that it is for the security of the state? But interesting. We're not going to make this a gun rights stream, though. this is
There's a lot to it. Yeah,
there's a lot. Okay, cool, interesting. Like I say, I'm surprised more people don't get shot. I think that's the that's like that's the horrible. I don't know.
There are actually a lot more people that get shot. There are tons of people that are getting shot like all the time, but it's
no.
Unfortunately, it doesn't affect like the mass amounts of people to figure out what's going on, and everybody wants to. Oh well, let's get rid of guns. I don't think it's necessarily getting rid of the guns is going to establish any kind of baseline of protection. I think finding a root cause analysis of why these, all the shots are being fired and figuring out what we can do as a society to make that better, to help that. But like, that's just my internal, like, wanting to help others rather than to just, you can't have nothing. Nobody can play with those toys because everybody can't play along with them.
Exactly. I think there's like, I think it brings up like an interesting, I don't know, discussion around like the culture of guns and what they're actually kind of for, I guess. I know that's pretty obvious statement, but yeah, like I say, it's just not something that I've really thought about much. I imagine you guys have, that's a reason why it's so controversial down there too. Because yeah,
I think it has to do with a lot of people that have a lot of their own agendas put into place that kind of watered down what the ultimate statement would be. Guns can be used as a way of bringing a father and son together when going hunting. Even a father and daughters do it as well.
It's a tool, yeah.
I mean, Yeti Lord. He's been a part of the community with Scrubcraft for a long time. In Scrubcraft, and he and his father go, yearly. They go hunting. Dude, that's awesome. That is an amazing event that they get to spend time doing. There's mastering the ability to use the gun and going against other people. There's all sorts of things that guns can do to bring people together without having to do all the dangerous killing and shit.
Well, even from a base point, I'm not gonna lie, like the only reason why Canada, we're up here is so cocky is because you guys have all the guns and you're protecting us, right? That's literally it. Like and any claim to fame Canada has, you can tell Canadians to go fuck themselves and tell them that you have a Canadian buddy who, like, you just, every time you see the Canadian flag, okay, just like shrink it down and like stick it inside the American flag, and that's the actual Canadian flag. I think the big question on this is something I think like really, really matters, is one, How many people are being actually, how many bullets are being shot? Okay. How many bullets are actually hitting people? How many bullets are actually hitting criminals? So if there's more bullets hitting innocent people first than there is criminals, then that's the issue. But you want to, so you see who's getting hit by them, right? You see also too, what is the percentage of crime where where guns are involved in comparison to other countries? Because I think it's really unfair. I'll point out it's really unfair that a lot of people say that the United States has more shootings, and I go, but they have more freedom, right? So like,
and we also have more guns.
You have more guns. That's the point. That's what I mean. It's like saying there's more car crashes in a country with more cars, right? Like, the country is better for having more cars, right? Like, we know this. We know a country that has lots of cars is a better country. It's wealthier. It's a more productive country. But we also know that a country with more cars has more car crashes. So it's super unfair for people to be like, well, America has more gun deaths than other places. And you have to be like, okay, well, you guys have this much crime, but also let's include the wars that you guys have had. Let's include the dictators and genocides that you guys have had. Let's account that into the equation, and then we'll see whether or not the amount of bullets the Americans produce versus the amount of people that get shot that are good or bad. Like, you know what I mean? Like, that's the calculation there to me that matters more than who's getting shot, right? Or how many people are getting shot. It's a trade-off, right? If you're going to have a freer, more productive society, it seems to me like that's the only country in the world that's doing it, right? So there's got to be, there's got to be some equivalent there.
Yeah, for sure. And I think a lot of the crazy thing about like any conversation anybody has about whether there's guns, gun violence, guns, guns at home, right to bear arms. There's you can talk yourself in the circle if you start expanding on that object. Like you can go into what is why is it that we hear about all these guns being shot off? Why are we hearing all these things? And then you go to the news media. From the news media, they're pushing an agenda that gets owned by the top 1%. The top 1% holds all the money and accountability and no accountability for all the people at the lower end of the spectrum. And you see that now the middle class is starting to be pushed down into the lower class with no availability above to go above. And then you see that the lower classes don't get much, not even the scraps off of the first 1%. And then you go from the 1%, they're the ones that are or the lower class, they're the ones that own a lot of the guns because they need to protect their stuff, what little stuff they have. And then you find out that they're having mental issues because these mental issues are based on, and it just becomes this one circle jerk of problems after another that snowball. And then you have things that happen like, at one point, Occupy Wall Street, where the 1% sit, was a big, huge thing. And you had all these media centers literally sitting there saying, well, they have no idea what the issue is. They're just sitting in front of these Wall Street buildings. No, it's because you were looking for a single reason, a single root cause analysis moment that you can focus on and put your agenda into perspective. When in fact, it is not just one way to fix it. There are multiple facets of every country, no matter what country you go to, multiple facets that cause these issues. And like it's crazy. It's just crazy.
It's a funny. I got two points just on top of that too. It's like, it's not the private schools that are getting shut up. We know that, right? And it's the private schools that are putting out the engineers and business people that own and run the guns, right? And build them. So
there's been shots at universities that are private schools.
Not by the numbers, as far as I know.
No, not by the numbers. But here's going back to when we first started as well. When you said, why don't we have places where guns are not allowed? Wouldn't that be better than what we're doing?
Yep.
No, that makes those easier targets for those that
Ah,
have guns.
hear me out. Hear me out. This is different. So no gun zones. There's a big difference. My idea is a little more complicated than that, and maybe it's a little more video gamey sci-fi. You know me, so I always got these kind of like whatever. Um, I think there should be tiered levels, almost like there's licenses right now. But there should be tiered levels for levels of energy that you're basically allowed to move around. How much, like, right now we do things like per bullet and per gun, right? But I think, and I believe for sure, and maybe this is a little bit crazy in some sense, I do think some kids should have the ability, some very responsible, specific 16-year-olds should have a responsibility to open the gun case when a school shooting is in and take very, very specific protocol to hold space, right? I don't think no gun zones for I don't think direct guns should be banned by the good people, but I think there should be certain levels of security for certain areas where if you're moving into a space, you have this level of energy clearance, or there's probably a better way of putting it, explosive clearance. And certain things become available based on certain setups. So I do agree with things like open carry and like school zones. You know, having people walk around with certain weapons and whatnot is there, but there should be like tiered levels of respect and also to like some level of reputation that comes behind it. So you could be barred from an area. So not the gun isn't banned on you, but you're banned from an area, right? There's you reverse the system as opposed to being able to carry something everywhere. You have someone who is just not allowed, right, to enter a specific area unless they're willing to adhere to the level of, like, yes, they could go through specific training and whatnot to get to that. And then, but there is no like designation between civilian and police officer. And I think that's one of the biggest things with guns that matters a lot with those no gun zones. It's like, well, then you just have civilians running around and getting shot. But if there's no such thing as a if there is a civilian, but civilian has level 5 weapon clearance, then in an emergency, level 5 weapon clearance cards swipe and open up level 5 clearance weapon closets, you know, or some form of storage or something like that. Obviously exceptionally complicated. I'm not saying that that's like a like that's an easy answer and it's really only like a modern day answer that's really hard to deal with. But I've had talks with people before too, and I know this from literally my history books and reading us about the American just American history in general. You guys used to train your 10-year-olds to go out and shoot. That was like part of school, like actually, right? And not just shoot animals, okay? But like if there's war, this is what you go out and you do. You guys used to do that. And if you go back far enough, if you had a house and the house was also a shop out front, like the parents would go to their like 10-year-old and be like, hey, shotguns in the corner if anybody comes in. And they still kind of do that in some way, but there's like a level of like disassociation that we have now from it. So the fact that civilians to me are like completely defenseless in certain areas, absolutely. Like, sorry, I just want to point, I know I've gone on a big rant when you're talking about no gun zones. But I also think having like full open access to certain areas is a little bit sketchy, right? It does, and we actually do have that rule anyways. Private property, you as Americans, you can tell somebody you're not allowed on my property with your gun, right?
Yeah. But it's still excessive force if you shoot them and they don't have a gun on them.
Yes.
In a lot of cases, see, that's the weird thing about that person in Virginia. I don't know the laws over Virginia, but like if I know some of the laws, like as it goes in California, And I even believe Texas still, even though it's a heavy gun use state, like if somebody turns their back and runs, like that is off limits. You can't shoot them. The joke is if you shot them that way, you turn them around, you shoot them again, and you drag them inside the house. You know, that like that's the running joke.
But what I'm pointing out though, I just want to sort of interrupt on that. You do have the right to refuse somebody to come into your property, and so and you do have the right to add conditions to that. I think they're public spaces, obviously. Like there's some places I like the right to open carry. I've seen guys, they walk around with rifles on their back just to tout the right to do it, right? I think having like the roadways, those middle roadways, relatively open, right? You'd have a very low bar for a level of security that's allowed for weaponry during like very, very low bar. When you start to move out of those public spaces, and I know a school, for example, is somewhat of a public space, but if you redefine it as like there would have to, and we still don't allow guns. You still have to go through a fucking security anyways. So there is rules that allow people to do that as is. But I think too, there's like two layers to this. Instead of reclassifying the type, whether it's like a rifle or a pistol, right? Like a pistol could be a rifle if rearranged properly, or a rifle could be a pistol if rearranged, right? We just classify based on the amount of power, amount of energy that weapon can impart, which I know is slightly different based on the setup, but you can do theoretical calculations on that. We do it in games all the time to balance games, so it's not an impossible calculation.
I see where you're.
Right? So you have levels of power for that. And then, like I say, in an emergency, right, a fucking fire extinguisher will be a level 0 energy item, right? So you have, like, every fire extinguisher is available. Okay, level 2, why not have smoke grenades, right? Like, in an emergency, level 2, well, that means the 13-year-old and 14-year-olds have some access to maybe press a button that ignites smoke in the building. And that's it, a designated, not actually throw a smoke grenade, right? Then you get to level 10, level 11, and then you have a guy, a 16, 17-year-old who dad's been in the military his entire life, and he's been training, and he knows the ins and outs of gun and safety and security, and something happens, or in a mall, sees in somewhere happens, someone starts shooting up the place, and he's got no way to get out. Well, he's got a level 10, a level 11 security badge, goes up to the emergency thing in the corner, and there is a bulletproof vest, a helmet, and a gun. Right?
DPS access, huh?
Yeah, that's what I mean, right? Or maybe he's got rights to carry his own weapon in that area. So he's got his own firearm, right? So he's got a level of security access. Everybody can test him, go, hey, do you have clearance for... Do you have clearance for this many joules of energy? And he's got this weapon and like 10 bullets, right? Well, in a level 2 situation, we have, just like there's fire extinguishers, just like there's fucking fire extinguishers, right? you would have that person, that kid, that 16-year-old, be able to sit down and protect the daycare, right? And protect himself. Of course, the idea is get out of there. But then that's where we have that like trust in society anyways. It's like, what's the policy? What is your emergency action? Obviously not go after the shooter. The reason why you would have access to these things is to get people out, right? And then the question of liability comes in, and that's like any other situation. It's just like a regular legal situation. Liability. Did you take the correct steps in this emergency? Just my ideas, right? That's the way I would do it if I was like dictator of the United States. But still keeping the right to bear arms. In your home, fucking keep a tank. I don't care. That's your own level. You can set your own level of security. You're gonna start a business. You set your own level of security. What tiers of people do you allow inside your building? So, I don't know. Just thoughts. Anyways. We've been chatting for like an hour now, okay? Easily. Yeah, I don't know. We gotta do something else. Do something a little more happy, fun.